chat is just kicking in. So we have Matt. Um, Matt is my partner in crime, really, with where writing comes in, um, co-author to the Riddle of Rotwood, and hopefully maybe I can twist his arm to come on to one of the 6 o'clock clubs and sort of chat about it. We're going to chat a little bit more about the Kickstarter in a minute. And Michael saying hello as well. Michael, very long time player and friend. This is the Michael that is in Collateral Damage as well. So yeah, so the role playing between the characters, the interactions between the characters is beautiful. It is a beer and pretzels type game. No one is taking themselves really seriously. Everybody's having a real hoot at the table, both in and out of character. They're going to Omnu for other reasons, to deal with the Sitar, a kind of lizard stroke serpentine race from beyond the stars. And supposedly now, according to this group, they all have a very bad fashion sense too. It was a blast. They're going to carry on sort of going further into the interior of Cult, and we'll be continuing that this Friday. Matt has just said in chat, happy to waffle on screen if desired, mate. Yeah, I'm thinking about tomorrow night, pre the recording of the actual play of Riddle of Rotwood. Maybe we do a post actual play show. I think that'll be really good fun. So that was what we did Friday night, and then Saturday, if I have done all of these graphics right, which is this Saturday here. Yeah, no, I am wrong. Saturday Games 2, there we go. So this Saturday we had Dungeon of the Mad Mage, first and foremost. It has Josh, Ian, Jocelyn, Pete, and Richard in. Um, they are currently in the university section of the Dungeon of the Mad Mage, and they soundly defeated some fiends from there, and they found a challenging room, shall we say, a challenging room. It reminded me very much of a Lionel Richie song called Dancing on the Ceiling. They weren't dancing though, they were being thrown around the room. It was a very challenging encounter, and it'll be interesting to see how they resolve it. Then immediately after that, we moved to Greyhawk Unbound, and this has got John Wayne. That's John and Wayne, not John Wayne, if you get what I mean. John, Wayne, Simon, and Al. And again, this is very much a beer and pretzels. It's got a old school feel, although it is 5th edition. And they were successful, fighting against a single illithid. They have rescued an alchemist, and they are heading back now to find out what it is all about. And they doing this in the underground dungeons of Greyhawk, the free city of Greyhawk as well. Very fun game, very fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they further the plot there as well. And then had a little bit of a break, which allowed me to record some videos that have gone live now, before 7 o'clock, where we then jumped into Spelljammer Cosmic Rain. And I kind of made a mistake. We had some new characters joining, and I told them it was level 12, only to find out that I told everybody else it was level 11. So there was an impromptu level up as well. Much better to give than to take, absolutely. And in Spelljammer Cosmic Rain, we got Jack, Sky, Cara, Michael, who was just in chat, Adam, and Kyle. It's larger than life. They're on this planet of sentient vegetation at the moment, 1,000-foot high canopies with sub-levels of tangled trees and branches and the like. A verdant garden of a sort of civilization, and something terrible is emerging. They found a clue of what it was, this plaque with these strange machine men, very foreboding for what they're about to face. They spent most of the session, though, dealing with a different kind of threat. This world, because it's so verdant, um, has got a very thin link between it and the Feywild. But the Feywild, in the backstory of one of the players, they've decided the Feywild and the Shadowfell are in war at the moment. So something from the Shadowfell had followed an inhabitant of the Feywild through, and had to deal with this shadow dragon. Cara was there. Hi, Cara. Thanks for joining us. It was nice to use the spice bomb again. Didn't think you'd get a chance to. It was very good, very funny. It's canon in our version of Spelljammer that the Spice Girls exist. Who would have known? They were originally spice traders from one of the desert worlds, and they have put that behind them, or have they? And have now formed a popular group called the Spice Girls, and they regularly perform on a very large Spelljammer floating space station-esque thing called Reality Sucks. And what Cara's character Fila did was create a bomb that was a distraction that exploded with fireworks, but also played a recording. Hello, Solo. You didn't realise you was missing this. How late are you? Well, thank you for joining us, Solo. It's the 6 o'clock club, so it's o'clock GMT, sort of UK time. Game in a very high fantasy world, and characters start at 5th level and can carry on playing in this campaign up to 10th level, and then they need to move to a different tier within mythical. So it's one of the few games that we run with a mixture of levels in, and it was another epic, I have to say. They were up against a number of Bodaks, terrible and dead, that could floor even the most sturdy of barbarians with a single gaze. If they get unlucky, they dealt with those in the end. Then came across a Sakot. This is all homebrew. I might repeat the content, but you're not going to find it in a book, so there's no spoilers here. They found a sarcophagus that had canopic jars with the organs of one of the high priests that were mummified. A lot of information that they had to be able to translate, and they use comprehend languages and all of this to do it well, and a lot of very good investigation and history and religion type roles to uncover the secrets of how to open this. And then there was a big choice to be made, because supposedly anybody that destroys these jars to weaken, to stop the high priest being basically immortal, being unable to be damaged, a curse would be bestowed upon them, and they didn't have at that time the appropriate means to remove the curse. So someone very bravely took that upon it, and it was a horrible one. They then battled the high priest, Having done that, it was a lot easier than it would have been without it being able to take damage. And then one of them fell, but they managed to stop from perishing, and it was quite tense. But there were a number of rolls. The high priest rolled very badly, and it was quite dramatic as one of the characters was paralyzed directly in front of him, and he was a turtle with a great armor class. And the high priest got unlucky, and there was a couple of rolls that, if they'd hit, it would have been a different story. But as all my regulars know, I like to do open rolls, and all these rolls were open as well. There was no fudging of the dice to try and keep people alive. It was tense and challenging, and the players, the characters, they won through, and they actually managed to get a rest as well. There was once they dealt with the high priest, the cultists that were plaguing them, they didn't really want a chance going in there and upsetting the high priest. So therefore, they used that to their advantage, and there was a chance that they might come in, but they were too scared. So not only did the long rest allow them to heal up and to regain their resources, which they were running actually very low on, they also managed to get a lot of experience for everything they had done so far, and they hadn't absorbed that, and most of the group actually leveled up, which is always a good thing. And then, last but not least, I'm not sure whether I can't remember, I've got such a bad memory, but we have Casper, Natasha, Ian, Jack, Marcus, and Anand in that game, if I hadn't mentioned before, but it's there on the screen for you to use your eyes if you wanted to. Then the last game of the weekend was our Eberron game, which again is weekly, and we're missing Becca once again, and we truly hope Becca can make it back. Becca is very, very busy with work as well. But we did have Jocelyn, we did have Jenny, we had Rachel, a very poorly Tony that dragged himself to the game, and Christian as well. And again, it was a real blast. They are still in this casino, putting the final pieces together of all of the alliances that they have struck, all the deals they've been made over a good number of weeks and sessions. Now they know that the big bad is probably going to be hunting them next session, so they've drawn a line, chosen a place to potentially take on this challenge, and they have positioned all of the players, pulled all the cogs together. So very excited to see how that is going to happen. It's there's a whole host of anxiety when everybody's worked so hard, both myself in terms of the plot, but also the players, to bring all of these threads together. And hopefully my anticipation is super high for it. Hopefully all the players' anticipations are as well, and hopefully we can achieve that level. I'm very excited to see how it's going to play out. That unfortunately is not going to be next Sunday because two of the players can't make it. It'll be the Sunday after. Solo has put some comments in chat. I love open rolls, prevent players from thinking the railroad train is leaving the station. You can't be blamed for fudge rolls. What makes it even more fun is letting the players roll the dice all the time. They are the ones to blame for when it doesn't go their way. Absolutely, Solo. It's there's I think it's Borg. They part of their rule set is the GM doesn't roll the dice. The players tend to roll all of the dice, and it is fun, and it does change the feel of it. I run all of my games online at the moment, so so it's fairly easy for me to sort of make sure that the settings are for me to show the dice. And like I say, I think part of the skill of a GM is to make judgment calls on the encounters, to prep the encounters properly, to balance them and make them interesting and challenging. Um, but I think it will be dull, and you might as well be writing a novel if you don't do if you hide the roles and you fudge the roles as a GM. I think it's much more fun to roll openly, and then it is down to the GM or to the players to interpret those roles and to make and this isn't punitive. This is, wow, okay, so this has happened. What we're going to do about it? What kind of story can we tell altogether and make it interesting? When characters do go down, it makes it very challenging. It makes it much more tense. Um, and I think my community realizes I don't fudge rolls anyway. Um, but just by rolling them open just takes that completely out of the equation anyway. Um, and that's how I roll basically. That's how I roll. But I totally agree with you 100% there, Solo. It seems that we are on the same mindset. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that was weekend. There was something else that happened at the weekend, which we launched, or a Kickstarter was launched, that both myself and Matt have written a scenario for, the Riddle of Rotwood Bog. That went live on Saturday night, and I'm going to come to that in a minute at the back end of the stream, as it were, really. Perhaps thinking about it, the sales stuff I should probably do right at the start, but hey, that's how I roll as well. Solo has also said another great aspect is letting them roll for something they aren't aware of yet. It gets them paranoid. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure paranoid. I suppose that is the right word. If there is something, but it throws that suspicion around the table that something might be happening and can create tension. I mean, if you really want to make them paranoid, I did this in a 24-hour game I ran, and it was fairly late into the game, so everybody was a little sleep deprived. And just say a quick hello to Kyle there for jumping in. Hi Kyle, thanks for joining us. And they were suspicious that someone had been replaced, that one of the characters wasn't the actual character, and I gave them hints that one of you might not be who you think you are, but um, at the moment, I want you all to play your character as if you would your character, because that is what this thing would do. Uh, and they all went, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, okay." Um, and what I actually did to reinforce that, it says, "Look, you've learned this much now, but it's getting to the point where you kind of really need to find if there is one and how you're going to do it." So I handed out slips of paper with crosses and ticks on, and I said, if you have got a cross, it means it's you, so you can play it appropriately from then on. And of course, there wasn't anybody. They had managed to make their saving throws. None of them had been taken over, so it was all ticks. But they were still concerned and worried, and this created a magnificent scene, kind of like out of one of my favourite movies, The Thing, where they were doing the blood tests and everybody was sat down and they went through it. They had to role play it out. They had to work out ways of doing testing and stuff, and it really did raise attention because they were suspicious that it could be one of them. And at the end, they were so relieved that it wasn't. But it created a very, very nice sort of 45-minute role play sort of scene of true tension, which was a delight to be part of. Thank you very much. You're very kind there, Solo. Your wording is better. I was rushed. Yeah, absolutely. I understand it. The way of communicating, especially live on streams like this with the delays, very, very awkward. But I get exactly what you're saying. Um, okay, so this week we're going to quickly run through this because we'll chat about the games more after we've run them. Tomorrow night we'll have the 6 o'clock club again. 6 o'clock club, for those of you who are not aware, runs obviously at 6 o'clock UK time for half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. We do it Monday to Friday. And then tomorrow night there is a game on, but it is basically a pre-record of the Riddle of Rotwood Bog. Got some great players. It's going to be an actual play. We're going to record it for YouTube, and then it should go live once we edit it either later that night or certainly on Wednesday. So we'll be running that. We've run it a number of times before. Very confident. Myself and Matt co-wrote it, so it's going to be fun to share that with a wider audience, and hopefully it might make you want to go and take a look at the Kickstarter as well. So that is Wednesday. No, that is Tuesday. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. That is Tuesday. Wednesday we have 6 o'clock club, but then we have Wednesday's game, and Wednesday's game is, if I can do this properly. Oops. There you go. Wednesday is Fortunes Untold. Great group of players. We've got Fliss, we've got Roz, we've got James, and we've got Adrian. And they are about to descend into some sunken caverns to deal with some marrow and to try and obtain some liquid sun. There's a lot to be said about liquid sun. The players will know. Some other players might know. I have used that magic item before in previous games, but it's going to be interesting. Very, very much. We couldn't play the last session because one of the players were away. So I'm looking forward on Thursday to telling you all about what happened on Wednesday's game. Then Thursday we have, if this is the right one, Icebreakers, critical role game. We've got Jack, we've got Joe, we've got M, we've got Sarah, we've got James, we've got Michael, and we've got a different James. This is set in the world of Wildmount. It's a very role-play heavy game, and they have just accessed entry to a tower from what was a beggar on the streets that seems to have got hold of a magical stone that is red in colour and has the ability to grant wishes or warp reality. They were battling some kind of living Bigsby's hands. They defeated those, but the amount of commotion they made has brought the attentions of these kind of strange ice golems down to them. Very much looking forward to this one. Critical Role Icebreakers is always a fun one to be part of. And then we've spoken about this at the start. It is our weekly game of Collateral Damage. On Friday, Ben, Charlotte, Michael, Stuart, Richard, Ryan, and V. Very excited for this as well. And then we move to Saturday's games. We have 4 of them. We have Curse of Strad, which has got Josh, Ian, Matt, Pete, and Ryan in. They are very much in the end game now, coming to a conclusion. They're in Castle Ravenloft playing a game of cat and mouse with Strad. Don't really say much more about it because it is a pre-written campaign and some people might want to play it, but very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to what happens on Saturday in this game. Then it is rapidly followed by yet another pre-written adventure, Tomb of Annihilation, and again they are in the end game of this, and that has got Casper, Gordon, Marcus, and Dave in. Then we move to the Diplomates, another Critical Role game. All of these 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, of course. And this has got Ben, Charlotte, Mal, Doug, and Nathan. Although Doug can't make it, which we will miss. And it ended on one hell of a cliffhanger. Some of the other players had to leave the session slightly early because it was Mother's Day, and the last session, and they didn't see what happened at the end, and I think it's a little bit of a surprise for them. So again, I don't really want to say much more. Then we should have on Saturday night Call of Cthulhu, but I know one of the players is on holiday. I've sent a message out today, so we'll see whether we might not continue this Call of Cthulhu campaign. It might be postponed, but I might open up a session there of maybe a Call of Cthulhu one shot, see if people are interested in that. Not entirely certain, but I like to get my Call of Cthulhu fix whenever I can, so I shall certainly try that. And then Sunday's going to be something special. Sunday is going to be our Sunday Shadow Dark special. We should be running our weekly Eberron game, but as I said earlier, a couple of players are not available, and it is a very climactic point. So we've postponed that game. So instead, I'm going to kick off a sort of West Marshes style campaign using the Shadow Dark rules. This is in celebration of their Kickstarter coming to an end. It has been incredibly successful, incredibly over $1 million. It's looking like that's going to translate to close to £900,000. It's very rules light. It's a joy to read, just the Kickstarter rules anyway. The art is fantastic. I have been producing a lot of YouTube videos about it, and I'm going to be producing even more. But I kind of wanted to reach out to our community and give people a chance to get a taste of it. So we are running from 10 to 1, 1 to 4, 4 to 7, and 7 till 10. They're all going to be the same technically scenario, but because they're one shots, there will be a start, middle, and end to each of them, and it will be assumed that you have left the place ready to re-emerge again. And because of the nature of Shadow Dark, because of the random encounters and the location, it is called the Halls of the Idiot God. It is very possible and easy for you to play more than one of these, and because it's a West Marshes style of game, you will retain all of your experience. If you play more games, you will gain more experience, etc., etc. The setting, though, is going to be the opposite end of mythical. Mythical games that I run are incredibly high fantasy. This is going to be grim, dark fantasy, drawing inspiration from such sources of Merc, Borg, Elric, the Michael Moorcock novels, Bloodborne, amongst other things. It's Shadow Dark is potentially a dangerous system, but that's not the intent. I'm not running this as a meat grinder, and there will be plenty of opportunity should you be up for the challenge to avoid, mislead, and overcome all of the challenges that are thrown in front of you. And that is part of the fun of the game. Yeah, it's combat does happen. It is fantasy. There is fantasy races, but you don't get experience for slaying monsters in Shadowdark. What you get, um, what you get is experience for collecting money, basically valuables. Hiya, Solo. There is a chance I will, in all transparency, these are ticketed games. Uh, I charge for the games I run because that is how I pay my bills. There are some spaces left. If you pop into our Discord, and our Discord is sort of, the link is down in the comment section, send me a message. At the moment, I believe I've only announced these today. There's spaces on all of them at the moment. The first game is almost full. We've got a player on the last two games as well. But they are open to everybody. Provided you are happy to pay the ticket price, which is £15. So yeah, so I'm very excited, and the idea is that these will build. I'm going to run some more Shadow Dark, and you can move your player from game to game. You don't have to meet on every single game, only the times that you're available, just like a West Marshes style of game. So it's I'm very, very excited. I've written quite a lot already, not just for this, but for the actual play that we are doing. So yeah, I can't wait to do these. Can't wait to do them. So that is everything that we've got going on this week. Obviously, I am prepping a lot of video content, not just for Shadow Dark, but also for the Riddle of Rotwood as well. So busy week for me, really. The last thing to cover is the Riddle of Rotwood Bog Kickstarter. Here we go. So this launched on Saturday. It's been very successful at the moment. It's already hit its goal. Matt and myself worked incredibly hard on the beautiful, look at that, the beautiful scenario there. It's been professionally laid out. It's got the miniatures as illustrations. You'll find the link to the Kickstarter down in the comment section below. If it's something that floats your boat, go and get it. Go and have a look at it. The miniatures, as you can tell from just this picture, is wonderful. What I'll do, if this does indeed work with this technology, boom, there we go. We've got the Kickstarter page up at the moment. Can go across to this. So we've currently, and I like to again be 100% transparent. This isn't mine and Matt's Kickstarter. This is a Dragon's Forge miniatures Kickstarter. We don't get all of the cash for this in any way, shape, or form. So we'll be lucky to see some money from it if we sell some of the PDFs. But we were commissioned to write an adventure for it, and that is what we did, and we're both very, very proud of it, so much so that we're going to run it as an actual play tomorrow night. The Kickstarter at the moment is just over £3,000. You can see 57 backers so far, 19 days to go, and it ends on Saturday, April the 15th. So I'm going to make a separate video highlighting this, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attentions that might not be aware of it. In the treacherous land of Rotwood Bog, a great danger lurks in the shadows. The village of Scratch, inhabited by cunning swamp skimmers, face a dire threat as the marsh dragon Sire Modir has vanished without trace. The dragon's presence has always been a vital one, keeping the dangerous beast of the swamp at bay. But with Simodir's absence, the creatures of the bog have grown restless and begun attacking the village with ferocity not seen before. So yeah, you as a group of adventurers have been hired to find out what has befell Simodir. Um, you can buy the PDF separately. You can buy the STL collection separately. You can buy a package of the STL collection and the adventure. You can also gain merchant license to be able to print the product, and you can get resin miniature set of the miniatures as well. So there's a whole host of very different sort of pledges that you can make on that. Just scrolling up here, it's a standalone adventure for 4 to 6 level 3 players, includes 6 pre-generated player characters, unique monsters, NPCs and antagonists, written to be used with the miniatures in this campaign. Yeah, the brief that we got was very specific. We were very lucky to get our eyes on some of the miniatures when we were writing it. We can scroll down here and you can sort of see the miniatures here. If you go to the website, you'll be able to see it all anyway, but I just want to show you the miniatures here. They are beautiful sculpts. Here's some of the named Dragora Kai. There are Dragora Kai scouts and maledictors. A fantastic sorcerer. But just look at those dragon eggs with those cute dragons. I can't wait to get my hands on those. And I mean, Simodir themselves, the dragon, is just amazing. And you also get the adventuring party as well. I'll be covering the adventuring party a little bit more in depth as the Kickstarter progresses. I think I might do videos about each one. There's quite a nice little hints of backstory. Of course, you don't need to use them. That's the great thing about role playing. You can bring your own characters to the table. But myself and Matt have thought long and hard about trying to make these interesting. You have a Dragora Kai Ranger, a half-elf fighter, a human cleric, a cat Mandari bard, a gnome barbarian, and a demon Ak sorcerer. Easily replaced for obviously a 5th edition tiefling or tabaxi or dragonborn, should you wish to. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about this, and yeah, I hope we sell some copies of it, and even more so that once you receive them, you really, really like them. Matt and myself have got a lot of plans. We hopefully might get commissioned to write more for Dragon's Forge, but on top of that, we are looking at writing some of our own stuff as well, which might be for a certain Shadow Dark setting, because I am obsessed with it at the moment. Well, there we go. How's that for timing? I think very much we are coming to the end of our chat, and it is almost 7:15. 45 minutes on the nose, really. I want to say a massive thank you for everybody that's joined us tonight. Really appreciate your company. If you are watching on Catch Up, thanks for watching on Catch Up. I hope you found it informative. Those places on Sunday are available. You do have to go into our Discord. It's the perfect opportunity to try it if you haven't. You can download the quick start rules from Shadow Dark's Kickstarter. Just go there, just download it. It's free to do. That's no trouble, and you'll see how light, concise, and clear the rules are. Everything that I kind of look for in a game, really. Um, Very excited to be doing that. So in the meantime, I'm going to say a big good night to you. I hope you all have a fantastic Monday evening. I'll be back here tomorrow for the 6 o'clock club. Until then, take care, everybody. Stay safe. Catch you all laters.